Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 7 and 8. Now, both of these chapters will be explained together in this single video. So this is going to be a long video, so make sure to not just binge watch it, but also make notes along with it. Some of you may not get the information and the technical knowledge inside this video on their first watch. So if needed, you should watch it multiple times to actually get everything out of it and attain the knowledge hidden inside these chapters. The concepts explained in this particular chapter are my favorite ones, right? These concepts, particularly in chapter 7 and 8, influence my technical knowledge the most, and I use them on a daily basis in all of my higher time frame and lower time frame analysis. Now, I use these concepts to build a higher time frame narrative. I use it to build a lower time frame narrative. And most important of all, I use it to determine my drawn liquidity both on the higher time frame and on the lower time frame, right? Now, the subject of the matter is that you should take them really seriously because it may seem a bit ambiguous at first, but as you dig deeper into the knowledge and get to know it better, you'd find yourself being able to analyze the charts, particularly the higher time frame charts, with a better perspective and a refined view, right? Now, that being said, let's get into the first part of the video, chapter 7, which is about weekly profiles. So first of all, as always, I'm going to start off with actually introducing what we are actually dealing with, and I'll make sure to define it in the most refined way possible. That way you'd have a better idea of what we are dealing with throughout the chapter, right? And throughout the video, and you'd be able to understand it better. So basically, the definition is that the weekly profiles are an advanced type of market profiles, right? Now let me tell you what I mean by advanced. So if you watched my previous chapters on market profiles, then you would have noticed that those market profiles were particularly based on price, right? And only the price aspects of charts were discussed. But now with these weekly profiles and intraday profiles, we're going to take those market profiles even further and also discuss the time aspects of the charts with it, right? Which is why I introduce weekly profiles as an advanced type of market profiles, right? Because inside weekly profiles, not only price aspect is included, but including the time aspects too. So basically, in summary, market profile takes price aspect into consideration, whereas weekly profile takes both time and price into consideration, right? This is the exact reason why this concept is my favorite, because they are dynamic, right? And both aspects of the charts are included in it. So, weekly profiles are an advanced form of market profiles used to break down the weekly candles range into manageable segments, right? Each with its own fractals. So, what basically is said in that definition is that with weekly profiles, we're going to divide the weekly range, meaning the weekly candles range, into segments, and each segment will then have its own characteristic or fractal nature. Now, obviously, this fractal nature will be dynamic and will be subjected to change and will be adjustable, meaning there's going to be no black and white around it, right? When we are dealing with weekly profiles, and you're going to have to look at the combination of key levels, PDRA metrics, and dealing ranges to reach a conclusion. Now, as I said before, all of these concepts that I'm explaining in CPI work only when incorporated and integrated correctly with each other in a logical framework. The same way weekly profiles will work only if you integrate it properly, and it won't work alone, right? It will only work if you integrate it correctly with key levels, market profiles, and other concepts like PDRA metrics and so on, right? Now let's move on to the next slide and let's discuss the importance and the significance of weekly profiles and what are the different things that it can help us with, right? So here's a list of the things that weekly profiles will assist us with. The first one we've got on the list, which is also the most important one, which is that with the help of weekly profiles, we will be able to understand the open high low close and the open low high close factor of the weekly candle, right? Which will helps us understand the weekly range or the weekly candles range a lot better. And we'll start to look at the weekly candle range with a more refined and logical perspective, right? Now, the open high low close concept or the open low high close is a different important concept in itself, right? And I'll be making a separate chapter on it in CPI and level 3, and we'll discuss it in great detail. But for now, you just have to remember that with the help of weekly profiles, we'd be able to understand the weekly candles range better, right? Now, weekly profiles will help us break down the weekly candle into multiple segments, and each segment, as I said before, will have its own fractals and characteristics. Now, weekly profiles is one of the main concepts that plays a role in helping us